If we take a close look at the Skywalker saga, there's absolutely no doubt about it that by far the two most valuable characters in the franchise is indeed both Anakin and Luke, and exactly how they really contribute to the main portions of the story, and exactly just how all of the Star Wars films are really interconnected, that were all created by George Lucas from the very beginning back in 1977. This is Mike Zero. Make sure to subscribe if you are new to the channel for future Star Wars updates. Also, by the way guys, make sure to drop a thumbs up on this video to support the channel. I thank you also very much for the kind support. It is greatly appreciated. Now, we all know that the sequels upset George to a very, high level. He was very much upset with the way things that happened between himself and Kathleen Kennedy, and how specifically Kathleen Kennedy really backstabbed George Lucas by deleting a lot of scenes and never allowing those scenes to arrive on the Blu-ray version, let alone even the streaming service on Disney Plus, of course. However, jumping forward to where we are now, Favreau and Filoni, alright, they are really crafting some very special things to the franchise, really giving fans something truly remarkable to look forward to. And a lot of this has to do with cherry picking from Star Wars Legends. Now, Legends were, of course, the books and the comics, etc., that were all in existence before when Disney took over Lucasfilm. And I will go out and say this, because it's my honest opinion, that the Legends books completely outperform the Disney canon books that we are getting today. Alright, so that's just my take on things. But where we stand is a very interesting point in time, because we have, of course, creators like these guys working on The Mandalorian Season 4 and Season 3 and other projects out there that's really going to propel things in the right path for the franchise as well. Now, with that being said and all, of course, with many new Star Wars TV shows in the works, they have all been making some very big changes behind the scenes over at Lucasfilm in order to regulate the franchise for the better. Most recently, one of the biggest decisions Jon Favreau had to make was introducing something very special in the Star Wars franchise. This is said to be a very special scene that is already pre-planned to be used in The Mandalorian Season 4 that is set to feature both Hayden Christensen as Anakin and Mark Hamill using brand new technology to become a young Luke in the 4th season that will showcase a father and son reunion on the world of Ossus, just in front of his Jedi temple. Now, before I get to the nitty-gritty details about this entire sequence, one thing that is worth noting is that Rian Johnson was questioned why he did not involve Anakin in The Last Jedi to have a reunion with his son. And Rian actually did reply to the fans, stating that it would have been too weird, it would have felt way too out of place to have Anakin in The Last Jedi. Honestly, my point of view, it would have been the better way to go through that instead of Yoda. That's just my point of view on things, but to each his own. But when we look at everything related to what they are doing here in this very given moment, we already know one thing, alright, is that Mando Season 4, alright, they described that this actual season is going to be very strong with the Force. And that was a very big tease, of course, that a lot of cameos and a lot of appearances of beloved characters in this show are going to be associated with either A, the Jedi, or the dark side, or just the Force in general. So that's one big thing to look forward to in Mando 4, is that it's going to heavily involve a lot of those big-time surprises that we got in the Book of Boba Fett, and exactly how that's going to become pretty much, a regular thing, episode to episode in Mando 4. Now, the other thing that I do want to bring up, alright, is that, of course, one of the recent storyboards that were complete were finalized to be used in the script. This scene involves a moment in which Anakin's Force Ghost appears before Luke as he is training and modifying his green lightsaber blade. Now, it's said to be a very special scene where Anakin has a slight different design in this very moment. His Force Ghost is said to have orbs floating around him. However, the build-up to the scene is that Luke hears Anakin's voice reaching out to him, where first the white orbs appear inside of his Jedi training, of course, temple, forming the spirit of Anakin Skywalker as he walks out to greet Luke. So, let's backtrack to the Clone Wars. Now, you guys may recall, or it might have been in Rebels, it was one of those episodes, Rebels or Clone Wars, where you do see Yoda's orbs floating around, and you hear Yoda's voice. It's going to be very similar to that. In fact, I believe it, yes, was in Rebels. And in there, alright, you're going to have Anakin's Force Ghost orbs floating around in the Jedi Temple, forming the overall structure of the apparition of Anakin. Now, there is going to be a slight difference. Now, we've heard that he's going to have a little bit longer hair, he's going to look a little bit older, a tad bit older, and he's going to have a different Jedi outfit this time around as a Force Ghost. Not entirely different, but just some couple of differences here and there. Just to kind of switch things up a bit. I bet you that's Disney's way of creating, you know, a new, merchandise or whatever have you, figurines that they want to sell. It's just business for them at that point, right? So, the next thing, alright, this all takes place at nighttime, which really enhances the Force Ghost glow effect. The scene is planned to be a solid 5-minute scene between father and son, exchanging many secrets about the Jedi and the dark side, where Anakin is planned to give Luke a couple of lessons. Favreau has wanted to do this for a very long time, and is now getting ready to make it all happen in Mando Season 4. So, the thing about this is that this is said to heavily mimic the scene that we got in, of course, at the very end of Return of the Jedi, except these characters are going to be communicating with each other, alright? You know, because if you look at Return of the Jedi, the Force Ghosts appear at night, you know, it takes place at a very, positive moment in time. That's what they want to do with Mando 4. They want to make it take place at nighttime, create a very positive moment for Luke. In this case, he's training through the ways of the Force, hears the voice of his father, turns around, sees those white orbs inside of the entrance of his Jedi Temple, and then the spirit of Anakin just forms. So for the very first time, we're going to see a new way of how a Force Ghost forms this time around. It's not just going to be like a fade-in scenario. It's going to be different this time. Favreau and Filoni really want to make the formation of a Force Ghost very much different in Mando Season 4. Now, given that Mando Season 4 is going to be a very much, a higher budget than that of Mando Season 2, that really does also give them a lot more opportunities to make this scene even all the more worthwhile. So I think that Favreau, at the end of the day, knows exactly what the fans want and how to really go about, doing this. Now, we already know that they are going to be using some archived, footage for Mando 4 when it comes to some of the sequences that will be used as flashbacks. We'll talk about that a little bit later. But the other surprising thing is that they will be using unused John Williams music for the 4th season. That's really going to implement a lot of those, great moments in Star Wars history. This is actually best described to be Favreau's biggest moment in the Mandoverse, and that he really wants to make it count. So overall, guys, drop a comment below. Let me know what you guys have to say about all of this below in the comments, and if you guys did enjoy the content for today, make sure to drop a thumbs up on this video to support the channel. I thank you all so very much for the kind support, and I'll catch you guys next time.
From night